Good afternoon and welcome to Have a Chat. I'm Audrey Lynch with my co-host Judy Loge, and also joining us will be our first guest, Ryan Tracy. Hello, Ryan.
Good day.
Nice to have you, Ryan.
Thanks for having me.
But I was told that I had an amazing week to be gone from here.
Yes, you
guys
did. It's
had
nothing
a lot of rain.
But rain. I'm dressed in this
Crazy.
big warm sweater today because I was
Yes,
cold.
I know.
But anyway, welcome back, and you had a beautiful trip.
We did. We really did. It was beautiful weather. No hiccups with flights and luggage and different things like that. It went really, really smooth.
Perfect.
I was sort of concerned because just before we left, we had heard and seen about a number of different connecting flights that were having issues. Toronto has a lot of renos going on right now, so there was lost luggage. And my flight was direct, so I didn't worry about a thing.
Good, all tanned up
For sure.
and back.
I'm ready to go.
Well, we don't feel too bad that you get to experience some of the rain and cold weather.
That I missed while I was away.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's just it. So we're going to start off our quick chat portion like we always do with a thought of the day. And Judy, you have something lined up.
Well, before I read it, I might as well just say it's a quote from the late Princess Diana.
Oh, okay.
And I really admired her, did you not? I mean, you probably were just very young when she was taken, but...
I was.
But you remember her.
Not a ton of memories, but I know how highly everyone thought of her.
Yes, she was a really highly respected and a beautiful woman inside and out. So her quote is, "Nothing brings me more happiness than trying to help the most vulnerable people in society. It is a goal and an essential part of my life, a kind of destiny. Whoever is in distress can call on me. I will come running wherever they are."
Go on.
Isn't that something? So she was very special.
Probably pretty sincere in saying that, too,
I would
right?
think so.
I
Very
think
authentic.
Very. Like, I get goosebumps just to hear you say words that she had spoken because I wasn't so young when that happened. But, and I can remember her with her boys and wanting to take the boys to places where they would see poverty and see the need to help. Yeah, I never ever once didn't feel she was genuine.
Yeah, exactly. And coming from that society, and the royalty and the expectations that were put upon her, she held strong to her own virtues, and that was to be kind to those in need. So I truly thought that was beautiful.
Yeah, it is, definitely. Be kind to all our viewers out there. It doesn't take much. You don't have to be high up in society to be able to help.
No.
It doesn't necessarily take money. It doesn't necessarily it just, simple little gestures alone
exactly
can make somebody's day.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
For sure. There was a lot going on this past weekend. When I flew in, my feet hit the ground running. There was so much to do and get ready for. I participated at my salon. Sheer Heights Studio participated in the All Things Ladies this weekend.
So you were into that, of course. You were trying to...
No.
The Autism Resource, Miramichi, puts that on. This was their 7th annual, and they put on a nice little light lunch and all the different vendors for what women might be interested in purchasing and finding information about. So it was a full house. It was actually a really great night. Yeah,
there was so much. They even roasted Patty Quinn on the weekend. Did you hear?
Yeah.
And you didn't get to that, but it was for basically men only. But I hope they did a number on you, Patty. I really do.
I heard from some women who were at the All Things Ladies that their husbands were actually over at the roast. And they were having a time.
Well, you have to have tough skin for that, right?
If there's anyone that could have taken it, I think Patty would have took it in
stride. For sure.
And
they love them. That's why they do it. They want to honor them in a way that might make them
you have to look at it as positive things.
That's
the reason why they picked him, right?
Yes. And before we jump to your topic that you're here to discuss today, Ryan, I just wanted to say that I was honored to MC the 37th annual Rotary Honors and Awards event on the weekend. Yes. And they have Paul Harris Fellows. So the Paul Harris Fellows are those people who, in their profession, go up and beyond, and they exemplify the Rotary motto, service above self.
Okay.
So it's like others before them, obviously.
Right.
And they do so much to help that they're given this beautiful award of recognition.
Nice.
Yes, there were 3 people this year.
Oh, really?
Paula Septon.
Okay.
She received a Paul Harris Fellow, and she belongs to the Rotary Club of Chatham. Bobby McCullum. You must know Bobby.
Yeah, actually, I know all 3 fairly well, anyways, that received awards. So
nice.
Bobby's fantastic. He's been going through some major health problems, but he attended. He looked good. He was laughing, and he's a very huge volunteer in our community, and he's been doing benefits for years and years of entertaining.
Actually, the Walter McDonald Memorial usually comes plays at that at the golf club, which is a big one.
So. Oh, so he certainly deserved that as well. Yeah. And the other Paul Harris went to the Anglican Church Community Food Bank, and they serve people in the community who go without food every single Monday. And up to 30 people, or 40 usually on every given Monday. So they were the recipients. And then we, the club of Chatham, give out one vocational service award.
Okay.
So that's a person who goes up and beyond in their profession. So this year was Dr. Bernadette McCarthy.
Fantastic.
And she's been over to Guatemala and given different dental clinics over there to people that were in need for dental help, and toothbrushes and toothpastes. And so it was a beautiful event, well attended and exciting.
That's fantastic. And congratulations to all those
all
winners.
Of them. So
very well deserved.
Deserving. And one last thing, Ryan, before we get to you, I wanted to mention Susan Butler is inviting you to join her on the launching of her new book. It's entitled For the Love of It, which she said her brother Michael helped come up with that topic.
Right.
The title, For the Love of It. So it's a history of the Miramichi Folk Song Festival and her 35 years as a volunteer director. So Susan Butler's book launch is Thursday, May 25th, 7 p.m. at the Beaverbrook Kin Center in Newcastle on the square, and there's a reception to follow. So thank you, and I hope to see people there.
That's exciting for her.
Very.
Definitely.
First book.
Yes. Now, Ryan.
Excellent. Yes. This is a quick chat. Holy smokes.
Exactly. So, Ryan Tracy, you are the general manager of the Miramichi Golf and Country Club here in Miramichi. Beautiful location. And you're here to talk to us about something different, though.
Yeah, it is. A Taste of Miramichi. So it's the first year that this event is going on, and I'll say event even though it's a month long or 4 weeks. It goes from today, May 15th, until June 11th, and there's 14 restaurants that we've been able to get on board, which we're really excited about.
That's great.
Yeah,
14.
Yeah.
Like
it's amazing how many eateries there are in the city.
Yes,
right? So actually, there's quite a lineup. I'll go through them here, but places you go and you stop in quick, or you enjoy a longer romantic meal, perhaps, or whatever. A variety of places, which is great. And the premise behind it is, you see all sorts of food trends out there these days, whether it's local food or organic food or what have you. So we're giving these places an opportunity to have a new menu, one that's really local, has some local ingredients. Now getting into spring or summer, there's more opportunity for that. So there's 3 courses. There's 2 separate 3-course options that each will provide.
Nice.
And then you can pick and choose from it. And every restaurant's different. I mentioned about the local ingredients, but they also set their own price point for it too, maybe appropriate to where you're going, right?
Yeah.
So,
or for example, lobster, and what the price of lobster is at that time.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's a big thing for sure.
What I love about this whole idea, before you get into all the details, is that all these restaurants get a chance to show off their expertise.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And their talent, because that's exactly what it is. I watched the chefs back in there, and when they actually, if I ask a simple little question about, well, what's in this, because I have a customer who's asking how it's made or what it's made with, they just it's like you're in class and you're learning. They can't wait to tell you all the details of it. It's fantastic.
So passionate.
They're passionate.
And I have no idea what your list of restaurants are, so I'm going to write some of these down.
Okay, well, and this is the thing too, is if you don't normally go to these places, it's a good excuse to go try it, and then they're still going to offer their regular menus too. So even if you go and you don't like the taste option that they have, well, there's probably something there you haven't had before, right?
Okay,
so,
that's right.
Riverside Entertainment Center,
yes.
The Goodie Shop, Fundy Line, Mike's Bar and Grill, Green's Catering, even actually, which is great. Quesada, Jane Street Grill, Capers, O'Donoghue's, Governor's Mansion,
that's
Chatters, the King George Bed and Breakfast.
That's nice, very nice too.
Yeah, so it's quite a variety.
And there's a couple of places I didn't even know. So that's right there.
1809 or the Rod is one, and then Mulligan's over at the golf course. So we're happy to be on that, and we have a great chef that is happy and very passionate too to be involved with it. So.
Do you see O'Donoghue's?
Yep.
Did great. All right, that's quite a list you have there.
Pretty diverse. Yeah, a good variety.
Exactly, because Quesada does the burritos, the tacos, and that type of the Mexican or Spanish, whatever that might be.
Exactly.
And then Mike's Bar and Grill, just to jump at a few of these, are very well known for their steak night and their different.
Different types of cuisine, and like you said, with the different types of year and the different. Different produce that comes out different times, it gives them a chance to showcase those things. Now, how did this idea start? How did this stem? Where did it come from?
Jim and I were talking about the burger love that they have on PEI, and like I said, you go various places, well, probably throughout the world or the continent, but throughout the country especially, and you see whether it was that on PEI or whether it's like in Toronto, I know they have Winter and Summerlicious and these sorts of things. So it's somewhat of a replica from that, but I know that the restaurants teaming up together, that everyone's going to benefit.
That's
and
right.
Now we're heading into a season where we have some more tourists coming in. We have Striper Cup coming up and
big
various
one.
things. Yeah, so it'd be nice for whatever you can say, like the best restaurants to be on display and
Perfect.
Showcasing the menus. So.
Well, they do TV shows live, the actual where people are going. A particular host of the show, and they're going and they're checking out.
Yes.
You have to go here for their burger,
That's
and you
right.
have to go there for this, and I think
Food
that's
Network and the chefs that are out there.
it's a big thing.
It is.
It's a big thing.
So you're a board member of the Miramichi Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
And so in conjunction with the Chamber of Commerce, this sort of came together with the idea of the restaurant?
Yeah, obviously the Chamber's mandate is to work for the businesses in town.
Yes.
And, Joyce Buckley there, the executive director and the board, we kind of pitched the idea and they were supportive. So there was some funding for it. And I think there's a pretty strong brand, but it obviously is going to take a little while to get the word out there, right? So between social media, Facebook obviously, which is the biggest one, I think there's over 1,000 likes on it now in a pretty short time. And they've been doing, there's a marketing company that's been doing some videos as well.
Yeah.
So you go to the restaurant and they can showcase the menu items specifically and talk to the owner. So that's helped.
I like that.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, this year I don't think there were any real high expectations, but we'll go through the 4 weeks, and if there's anything, it's really a bonus. And then hopefully we can build it even to, maybe do something in the fall or even next spring again.
Exactly. I'm excited because you know what? Sometimes you're just in a rush, and people that are working, business people, and all kinds of moms and dads are running with their kids after soccer that's going to be coming up. They're just saying, let's just either get a sitter and go out and have a nice dinner, and the kids can kind of gel, or we can do a family thing. There's how many restaurants there's all kinds of these places that would accept children and the whole family.
That's
so
right. There's no reason why you can't introduce your children to great cuisine either, and all the different all the different cultures and types of foods that are out there, right? Because you never know where the next fantastic chef's going to come from.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think I'm not sure, but perhaps if people get into the routines of going to the same places, there is more out there.
I know. It's really good to know. My son's 25. He's in his third year of medicine, but he's in Moncton for the year. But when he comes home, he's thinking, "Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize this place was here," and he grew up here. He's only been away for a year, but in that year that he's been gone, like some of these places have popped up.
Yeah.
So he's quite excited to be able to go out with his friends to some of the new places.
Well, I know at the golf course too, with Mulligan's and our pub being open every day, a lot of people probably don't think, okay, I can go there if I'm a non-golfer to eat. And
that's true.
Now with the chef that we have, our menu every day is great, but now being a part of this event makes it even more spectacular.
So now are all of these restaurants running a special for the entire month? Like you said, it's 4 weeks. It's not these few this first week, these few that week, or is it everybody all at once?
It is, and if you wanted to go and have the same taste option at the same restaurant, you could even, because it's 2 separate 3-course options, right?
That's right.
Appetizer, entree, dessert.
Nice.
Right.
So I mean, even
you
if
can shuffle it up and make it your own.
If you loved it, you could probably have the same thing if you wanted to, but there's quite a variety, which we're proud of.
Yeah. So what would you say the agenda, like they start today, so it goes until June 11th. So have you gotten people interested in saying, okay, like tell me more, like you have it on social media?
A little bit, yeah, and we did a little bit of radio last week as well, and you try your normal avenues of marketing, but
word of mouth is best.
Yeah, word of mouth.
Don't you think?
It is for sure. So the restaurants hopefully are doing their part too, and saying, like you said at the Rod you were at the other day, and we have posters and branding up, and I think the posters we have are, they're good looking. It's a strong brand, so we'll see.
And I'm really proud of the Chamber, because I used to belong, when I had a business, to the Miramichi Chamber of Commerce, and it's good to come up with new ideas.
Yeah.
You are trying to promote your businesses locally and trying to put
Networking.
money into those restaurants, and there's so many people that they have to employ. You have your servers, your chefs, it's just a big operation on a day-to-day basis.
Avoid people going down to, whether it's Moncton, Fredericton, or whatever, because there's not enough variety. Well, this is a good opportunity to do that too.
Keep it local.
So what's the full goal of putting on an event like this? What are you hoping to gain, or what are the businesses?
I think just local whatever, what do you want to call it? Maybe enthusiasm or awareness, absolutely, yeah. And, I think the timing was particular with, well, I think it's spring out there. I mean, it doesn't feel like it.
I don't know. Fire going there a little bit later.
Yeah, so I think, the restaurants teaming up together, they all hope to benefit because, and I think the chamber, it's not we'll say like a charity or anything like that. It's not like it's that type of event, but everyone is really proud to support local.
Sure.
And so if local, well, in this case, retail, but restaurants too, can team up, then, they all stand to benefit. So collective effort. And everyone's taste buds can benefit too.
And dining's a highlight in life. Let's just face it. People
exactly.
really enjoy getting dressed up, whether it's with your girlfriend, your husband, your child. It's a nice thing to do, is to go out and eat together.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. Sitting around there, whether it's the dinner or lunch table or supper table.
It's a highlight.
It's
a
we want to thank you, Ryan, for coming on and telling us all about this. And I'm sure you can find the Taste of Miramichi Facebook page, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And check it out, like it, find out what's going on and where and all the different menus.
On the Chamber of Commerce website,
we'll be back after the break with more of Have a Chat. Don't go away. Hi, and welcome back to Have a Chat. We were just chatting with Ryan Tracy, the general manager from the Golf and Country Club, who was telling us great things about the Taste of Miramichi.
Yummy.
Definitely something to look forward to in the next 4 weeks here in Miramichi. And up next, we have Craig Martin joining us. Hello, Craig.
Well, hello, guys. How are you?
First-time guest.
Yeah, first-time guest.
A newbie.
Yes, a little nervous, but I think we're going to get through it.
He's a busy guy. He's hard to rein in here, but we figured out your schedule, and we're glad you could make it.
I was glad to book off a little bit of time to come chat with you guys. Yeah, for sure.
We're actually pretty excited and interested in what it is you're going to be talking to us about. You're a registered respiratory.
Yeah, it's quite a handle.
I know. I'm like respiratory therapist. Right? You're in Miramichi.
Yeah, exactly. So
you grew up here. Tell us about yourself first.
Sure. So born and raised in Miramichi.
All right.
Dad was a doctor. Well, still is.
He is, and a wonderful doctor, Dr. Bill Martin, for anyone who doesn't know.
And Mom was a nurse, so I always felt like I would be in the medical profession.
Your brother's a physician.
And my dad, exactly. Chris is a physician. He took over my dad's practice.
Great.
And did a bachelor's degree at Mount Allison.
Good.
And then sort of took a year off and tried to find my way. And it was actually your husband, Dr. Lozier, who sort of got me interested in respiratory therapy.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I would not have known that.
You probably wouldn't remember the story, but I did a little bit of shadowing for different professions to sort of figure out what I wanted to do.
Okay.
And the day I did respiratory therapy, we were in CCU, and Gerard did an extubation. He did some advanced medical procedures, and I thought, you know what? Respiratory therapy.
You really were drawn to that, and he encouraged that for you.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he's a very hands-on doctor, so he sort of showed me the ropes, showed me around CCU, and I was really impressed. And
isn't that something that now you're a registered respiratory therapist with your own business?
Yeah, so I'm the sole employee of Quality Respiratory Care Miramichi, so I'd like to think I'm the operator. I don't know if the owner's going to agree with that. But
well, there's an owner out there that puts you to good work.
There you go. There you go.
That explains why he's so busy, and if you're the sole operator
at
the
moment.
Trick
of all ponies.
You have a big job. I do know that. I thankfully don't have any respiratory illnesses myself, nor do you. Do you?
Nor do I know anybody.
So I do know of people, but just so that you can enlighten our viewers on to the various aspects of your job, maybe you just want to start with a certain basic problem.
So I think our sort of our bread and butter would be obstructive sleep apnea. So treatment that entails to that. So we do the testing. We have 2 different levels. So we have a level 4 and a level 3. And each of those entail a different process.
Okay.
And then if the test came back positive and the physician wanted us to move forward with treatment, we certainly could do. So we actually offer a free trial for our clients. So they come in, it's about a 30 to 45 minute appointment with me, and I'm set them up with a CPAP machine, and a mask. And then I sort of follow their therapy. We usually give them about 30 days here or there.
Okay.
And we follow that therapy. So the most common therapy that we offer would be CPAP. I don't know if you guys ever heard of CPAP.
I have. But just to go back for people that do not know what sleep apnea is.
Sure.
I think we better start there because I hear
that
all the time.
Because if you're like me, now I've heard the word, but I have no idea exactly what it is because I don't know anybody.
It can be confusing because a lot of people assume that if you snore, you have the problem, which it's sort of a strong indicator that there might be a problem, but it certainly doesn't mean you have it.
No.
So when I try to explain it to my patients of what it is, it's a structural problem. Okay, so something's impeding air from getting in. Okay, and that could include large tongue and large tonsils. It could be a jaw-related issue. So there's a whole list of things that could be causing the airway to fall back on itself.
Okay.
But sort of, I don't necessarily focus on that reason itself. I focus on the testing. So essentially, how you correct that problem with the machine is the machine generates air pressure, which then sort of moves everything out of the way. So that when you fall asleep, when you get into that deep sleep, when everything starts to move back on itself, the air pressure is going to move everything out of the way.
Okay.
And you can breathe nice and easy.
How nice is that?
Yeah.
So that's for the CPAP that you have here. Is that it?
Yeah, so this is a mask that I brought because one of the biggest misconceptions, and I hear it all the time, a lot from people that have been on these machines for longer than, say, 10 years, they'll come in with these giant masks that cover the whole face, and they're not too thrilled about it. They still persevere and they still use it, but they're always wondering about what's new.
I'm claustrophobic, so I don't know what I do. Right?
Exactly. And you see that problem a lot. And one of the easiest ways is to give them a smaller mask. So you can see here, of how small that would be compared to a full face mask.
It's nice and neat. Very nice.
So to orientate and the material that it's made of.
Yeah, they're all silicone based, so they're hypoallergenic.
Okay.
So there's no real reason to break out to a rash or anything.
Interesting.
And the air just comes in. It's hard to see. I'm sure you can't see that, but the air just comes in through a slit here underneath the nose.
Okay.
So it doesn't cover the nose, doesn't cover the mouth. It just
wraps
right there.
What a relief to have something that modernized from
Isn't
the old
that nice?
one.
Oh my God.
It's a very slick looking, tiny equipment as compared to what it used to be.
Now you were saying it's the air pressure that helps open up the airway so the air can flow. So in my head, I immediately start to panic that you're like, what determines the amount of pressure that you use? Is it different for everybody?
It is.
Oh, okay.
It is. So the machine that we offer for our trial, and some people even purchase these, they're called auto CPAPs. Okay, so they have smart technology in them that sort of go up and down in pressure based on the dynamic airway characteristic, which is to say, when a person needs more air pressure, they get more, and when they need less, it tightens it up.
Because I would think some people breathe deeper than others, and some are more shallow.
Precisely. So everybody's a little bit different, and that's why we sort of have to follow their therapy, because you can't just say, okay, you look like you might need this. Here's your machine. Toodle-doo.
No.
You have to track that therapy and sort of tailor it to each individual.
And it could change over time.
And that's another really good point. You see a lot of people that haven't had their CPAP checked in 10, 12 years.
Wow.
And it does change. Some people put on a little bit of weight. Some people take off a little bit of weight. So it does fluctuate.
Yes.
Precisely.
Exactly.
What are some other areas that you deal with in your business?
Sure. So CPAP, like I said, is the bread and butter. We also do advanced ventilation. So those would be individuals sort of with neuromuscular diseases, muscular dystrophy. ALS would be a big one.
Okay.
So we essentially see those patients not necessarily for airway integrity, but actually to help them breathe and sustain life. So it's a much different process. The machines that we use are much more advanced than, say, a simple CPAP.
Yes.
And we don't see them all too often, but when we do, we make sure we take good care of them because, again, this is life-sustaining therapy we typically put them on. So
would there be any involvement with your business in regards to people that have had strokes? You know how your body changes with the stroke. Would you see any of that?
And that's sometimes, and that sort of falls back to obstructive sleep apnea. So we always think of obstructive sleep apnea as being over here, but on the other side, there's this different sleep disorder. And we call that central sleep apnea.
Central sleep apnea.
Yeah. Okay. Now we commonly see that problem in individuals who have poor cardiac function. So your congestive heart failure patients, or people that have had strokes.
Okay.
And that how the stroke affects it is basically the messages from the brain going to your breathing centers. They're not regular enough.
Okay.
And in those individuals, you sort of have to breathe for them at certain periods, and it changes during the night.
So, Craig, how does this work? Like, you have to work then in conjunction with the physicians who say, my patient has congestive heart failure, and then they should go see you?
Well, sometimes they offer that information, but we also, when they come in, I sort of get a little bit of history from the individual so I can sort of see where we're likely going to go. But remember I talked about the level 4 and level 3 sleep studies. And level 4 is not going to dissociate between the different types, but an actual level 3 will let you know what sort of sleep disorder breathing they have, be it obstructive or central. And then sometimes you also find that out as they get put on a machine that, this isn't working. Likely something else is going on. We move away from that therapy, move to something else.
So you're by yourself and you do all this?
Yeah.
One-on-one? You're a one-on-one guy.
I think we've expanded to a point where we're pretty sure we're going to be adding some different staff members. So maybe administration, and maybe if everything sort of moves in the direction it is, probably hire another respiratory therapist as well.
What about the age groups you deal with? Everyone, like, do children have certain issues that you have to see them about?
If we see young children, it's usually for oxygen therapy, so you get a preemie that goes home, and the parents obviously want to spend time with them at their own house, so sometimes we'll facilitate oxygen therapy for them. But I'd say the main group that we would see would be 50 to 80 years of age.
Okay.
Yeah.
50 and over.
Well, what about COPD and asthma? Now, that's a different thing.
Yeah,
altogether,
I have you can actually take a COPD educator course and asthma educator course. So technically, if you have that, you can give out that information.
Right.
But the hospital does, in fact, offer COPD and asthma clinic inside the hospital, which is really important.
Yes, so many have to have that.
Oh my
God! I talked to his asthma lately.
As the baby boomers get older, we're going to see some pretty scary rates of COPD.
Yeah.
Oh, you're kidding.
When I was in respiratory school, I think it was the 3rd leading cause of mortality.
Wow.
In the world.
Now, are you seeing a rise in the sleep apnea as well?
Yeah, and that has partly have to do with changing body shapes.
Okay.
I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how to put that nicely.
There's a lot of people, obesity is an issue in our area. Just
unfortunately.
It can be mild, moderate, or morbid, or whatever you
obesity,
have.
And it's I would think one of the biggest causes for your breathing to be altered.
Yes.
Right?
I would have to completely agree with you.
For sure.
You know,
you say it as it is. You're trying to educate people here. You're trying to educate people. You might as well put it right in the line.
Precisely. So obesity rates, and the other thing that probably helps too is these home testing devices that we have. So previously you would have to go to, say, Moncton or St. John to have these tests done, and the waiting list would be huge.
Right.
Well, now you can just show up to the office, I give you the device, you take it home, you bring it back the next day.
That's wonderful.
Now, what about smokers? Is that one of the risks, one of those red flags?
Yeah, there's sort of a little bit of crossover there between COPD and obstructive sleep apnea. A lot of it, as far as I understand, has to do with just as you age and as your lung function goes down, you lead a more sedentary life, you're likely to put on some more weight.
Okay.
Right.
And that sort of spills into the obstructive sleep apnea.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
And what about somebody that, an elderly person with congestive heart failure that's, it's going downhill for them as they get older and their congestive heart failure is worsening?
Sure.
What do you offer? What do you do for that person who you see declining?
That's really tricky.
Right? It is really tricky.
The therapy that's indicated in those individuals, it's something called auto-servo ventilation. So essentially we try to breathe for them when they don't have the capacity to, and hopefully improve their quality of life, right? Sometimes they feel in those individuals, if you put that device on them, they'll have a little bit of more pep in their step.
Good.
Which is great for those individuals, because anything that we can give them to help their quality of life.
Because it's scary.
It is.
When your breathing is compromised, that would be one of the worst feelings ever.
Yeah, I had when I had first started to travel, actually my second trip, and I had an incident where I had a mild concussion, and they had taken me to the infirmary, and I didn't realize it at the time. I just knew I wasn't focused, things were a little blurry, and they immediately hooked me up, and according to the readout, I wasn't breathing deep enough. My oxygen saturation was really low.
Right.
And I know my husband was standing over me saying, breathe deeper. And in my head, I was like, I'm breathing. Like, so that's like, what difference does it make how deeply or how shallow that I was?
Yeah.
But that was their biggest concern, that my oxygen saturation was so low.
Well, yeah, when you visit an ER, the first thing they usually put you on is the monitor and
and
put
the
on
little
the oxygen, right? Because it can get pretty down.
And for me, I remember feeling very scared that I wasn't in control, that what if it stopped?
Right.
That's a terrifying feeling.
It was. It really was.
It is.
So then my heart starts racing and I started crying.
Because it is concerning, right? Because you start to see numbers and it usually flashes on the monitor too if it's in a low, and you're thinking, what is going on?
Yeah, exactly. I sort of in my head felt like things were shutting down and I didn't have control over, breathing any harder, deeper than what I was at the time. But
any other, I want to let viewers know that you do go into homes and you do serve a lot of our region.
Yes,
not
I do.
just in the Miramichi community, but
I'm
you're all over the place. Tell us about that.
So I don't really have a range that I sort of stick to. I have a couple clients in Campbellton, I have some in Caracat. We do have an office in Moncton, so they'll typically come up to about Bucktouche, but I also have clients down in St. Louis to Kent. So
home visits.
House
calls in this day and age.
I tell you.
What a guy.
No, I have no problem with that. Because again, like I talked about, we do 50-80. So there's some individuals when mobility is a problem, right? So I'm not going to make them take a taxi. And no. So I have no problem going to people's houses. And there's systems now too where, I remember I talked about during the trial, I like to see my patients. And again, mobility can be a problem.
Right.
There's now technology where I can get that information sent to my computer remotely. So I don't even have to see the patient.
That's cool.
Isn't it awesome?
Technology.
Making my job a little bit easier. I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. But now let's be honest here. When you're talking about people that have issues due to their level of weight and it's compromising their breathing, can you discuss that gently with them, advise them that they do have to try to find an exercise program that will reduce their weight? And can you?
Yeah, I always like the way I sort of fit that in there is to say, because everybody wonders, am I going to be on this forever?
I know.
And I say, well, there's probably some steps that you could take to get yourself off of that, and then and then weight being one of them. And, and as long as you approach it not too heavy-handed, you're not going to say, you need to lose about 40 pounds.
No, you can't. Some people would, but you don't do that.
Yeah.
No,
there's a way to approach that.
Precisely.
Because that could be a whole other issue in their life.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. That's not going to help.
Very tactful advice you give.
Yeah.
And we give them the tools so that they're able to get
precisely.
To that.
And the great thing with treating obstructive sleep apnea is that one of the biggest positives you get out of that is an increased energy level. And if you feel better, are you more likely to be active?
Well, more likely to go for a walk if you can breathe better.
Well, exactly.
So one thing leads to another in a positive way.
Yeah, it spins off. And you see I've seen a lot of individuals who have come back. I like to see my patients yearly. They'll come back and they'll have lost 30, 40 pounds. You retest them and lo and behold, they don't have the problem anymore.
No,
gosh, that's great.
Exactly.
Right.
That's just
and where are you based?
Yeah.
Southside Medical Center.
Southside Medical
That's
Center.
at 635 Water Street, down from the hospital, across from Sunny Corner Enterprises.
Right on.
Okay, I know it. You're right close to where I live. So how do they get a hold of you? There's a phone number?
622-9099.
622-9099.
And most physicians on the rivers would have my referral form too. So if you're ever interested, you could bring it up with your primary health care provider. Talk to them and see if they feel like it's a good idea to be tested.
Craig Martin was the guy to see.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful thing. Like I said, there are so many people that I know personally that have these issues to deal with, and now they know that the service is able to be provided.
And even if it's just a call and a conversation, I'm always open to have a conversation. It doesn't have to be testing, but if you ever have any questions about pulmonary health or what's going on, give me a call.
And we're so glad to have a young man like you back on the river too.
Yeah.
Like that grew up here, came back here with their business established. You have a family, wife, and children.
I do. I'm married with 2 children, 8 and soon to be 5. It's pretty
So you have your hands full for sure.
I do.
We want to thank him so much for joining us today,
my
Craig.
Pleasure.
Thank
I hope you guys will have me back sometime.
Yes.
Yes, definitely, for
Thank
sure.
you very
As
much.
new things come up, definitely we'd love to have you back.
I'd like next time maybe bring a machine and I could actually put it on me so you guys can see how it works. And
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah. Awesome.
Let's plan that.
We'll be back with more Have a Chat after the break. Don't go away. Welcome back to more Have a Chat. We were just having a great conversation with Craig Martin, who is a respiratory therapist here in Miramichi, who has a great business for quality respiratory care.
Yes.
Very interesting. A lot of great information there for sure. Up next, we have joining us Mary Maud.
Mary.
Hello.
Another hard lady to schedule. These people are so busy in their professions that we have to really book quite a far ahead.
Yes.
But you made it. You made it.
I did.
Welcome.
Yes.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you for
I've
having me.
known Mary for
Have
years,
you?
and I'm sure many viewers know Mary, but
Just in case there's somebody out there who doesn't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself first.
Well, my name is Mary Maud. I'm a registered nurse of 37 years. I'm married to Mike Mott. We have 3 grown children and 6 grandchildren, 4 grandchildren, sorry, 4 grandchildren. And
big family.
And I am from a big family. And I'm active in the community. And
from Logieville, right?
I'm from Logieville.
Grew up in Logieville. Beautiful community that
yes,
is.
it is.
Yes.
Great
You are a
place to reside.
registered nurse, and today you're here to talk to us because you're certified in advanced foot care.
Yes.
So that's what our big topic is for today. So why don't you fill us in a little bit exactly what would that entail?
Well, I started, I retired in 14, but previous to my retirement in 12, I went and got myself certified in advanced foot care. And then in 13, I started the business, and then for a year and a half, I worked both. But then it transitioned me into this business, which I travel all over Northumberland County. And after 1 year of doing the foot care, I realized a lot of the problems in foot care are from people with their feet they're not measuring their feet. They're not having their feet measured when they go to have maybe get some foot.
So it's their footwear that's causing some of the issues.
The size of their foot measurement is a big thing. They're wrong, and they're usually like their arch, and for example, like.
Well, a lot of people think that measurements are done by length, but it's actually by arch, which will give you your width.
Arch, yeah.
I see that. I see those in shoe stores all the time, and I don't know. I still wouldn't know how to use one. And
you don't bother. You
besides
don't bother
putting my foot in it, I don't know how to read the measurements on it.
That's true.
I don't.
And you don't bother looking at it. So.
Well, after doing it for a year, I realized that people weren't getting measured, so I just took upon myself to buy the apparatus, self-taught myself, and started measuring. And then I started finding that where the problems were, and started to kind of recounter those and just
very interesting.
Follow up on some maintenance.
So you get people with flat feet, you get people with high arches, you get people like that wear the wrong size shoes, like they do. I had a pair of shoes
because of that, their feet change their shape.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And they can't wear or can't walk properly.
Yes.
It's interesting. No, it is. There's so much to do with feet. Feet are what keep us standing up, so it's a huge topic.
Yes.
Well, after, like, a lot of people think that when you have the same size shoe that you might wear when you were 15, but your weight distribution changes, your stature changes, depending on what you're doing, even your hobbies, your work, whatever. It all changes.
I had a pair of shoes on that I've worn for, I'm sure, 3 years. I wore them to a gala the other night. They were too big. They were falling off me. I said, did my feet lose weight? I don't know what, but anyway, they're going in the garbage or they're going to give them to somebody.
Well, there's a lot of people, like, if they wear, like for men, I found that they have a lot of chronic ingrown nails because of cowboy boots. And
because there's that little slant.
They'll go in and they'll wear those, and even though they know they're too small, they'll still wear them. It's more for style. And then they just stretch them, and then they get comfortable, and they think they're fitting, but they're really not. And then it causes for a lot of problems. And as they age, these problems get more severe, and they get embarrassed by their feet. A lot of people don't want to look at their feet, but they should really be looking at their feet the same way as they
look at their hands.
Look at their hands, or
I find that people are so
get their
embarrassed
hair
of their
done
feet.
on their face.
They don't. Feet's a big issue for a lot of people. Like for example, I know people that have perhaps taught in high heels their entire life, and so therefore now they have hammer toe, where the toes are all bent and actually overlapping in some parts. So
that again comes from.
Can you talk about that?
Well, that comes from a shoe that's too small over the years. Lots of times people, they have hand-me-downs. They wear, they just goes from one person to the other. Maybe they can't afford it, and 1 year just rolls into the other, and then after a while they think it's their norm, and they have all these toes and nails that are chronic and overlapped and hammered, and they're walking on their toes, and they really don't need to be doing that. If they had some kind of foot care, some maintenance, and just some education and just how they can go about. And
so what exactly would the foot care entail? Like, besides the fact that you're telling them, okay, your shoes are this and that, and these are the issues you have, what is the care itself to correct it or make them feel better?
Well, with myself, I'm comfortable after working so many years in different fields of nursing, and I did have a few years in orthopedic surgery, the burn unit.
I know you've had so much experience. 12 years in the burn unit, wasn't it?
12 years in extramural, where we specialize in wound care, chronic wound care. It's wounds that aren't taken care of in the hospital, but they're taken care of in the homes because it's a long term.
Right.
So with all those things and just self-teaching, I look at more of the chronic aspect of the feet. You're getting into peripheral vascular disease where there's poor circulation, gangrenous toes, cyanosis, which is it just shows that there's no circulation there. People can learn I do a full assessment in the first stage where it can be anywhere from 2 to 3 hours.
Oh my!
Oh, really?
I'll review their medications, review their nutrition, their hydration. That is a big thing because the skin itself is an organ that covers the whole body.
Yeah.
So it's important that they actually are getting good nutrition and they actually are hydrated. Yes. And products, you want to be careful what products you use. I do very basic products.
Yeah, you were telling a little bit. You have a little secret ingredient or a secret
product.
Well, no,
I just use there's a product called O'Keeffe's Foot Care by Profort. It's O'Keeffe's Foot Care, and it's good for diabetics. It's safe, and it is great for cracks. It will heal cracks overnight. Wow. Now, depending if it is a dry crack or a long-term crack, it takes that much longer, but anything you're treating should be dry. Anything that has a drainage should be attended to. And that's another thing to know, your barriers when you're looking after people's feet. I am comfortable to a certain point, but then maybe if they need a podiatrist, then refer to them that.
Yes, because that's a different
Yeah, you need to know your boundaries.
Okay.
So I can I've referred to emergency, to the doctors.
Yeah,
I
because
call
it's
the
possible
doctors
they need
myself.
medical care too.
Reflexology, is that beneficial?
I would
That's
say
something
so
nice?
after they have maintained some maintenance and understand and learn how to look after their feet. One of the big issues too is if someone is wearing a heel over time, the weight of their body will actually be on your toes.
On your toes.
Your metatarsals are called your toes.
Okay.
The base of your metatarsal forms the ball of your foot.
Right.
So when you are walking on heels over long term, that gets tired and that ball falls and the foot shortens.
Okay.
And that's when you get into crowded.
Yeah, toes lapping over each other and pushing together.
Yeah.
It's painful, people say.
Absolutely.
How do you deal with how does the patient deal with that
because
crowding?
Over time, people can lose weight, and they feel more bony. Actually, people think that they have calluses right here and they actually are feeling the base of their metatarsals. And
don't be eyeballing me.
I don't have that, but I'm just saying it must be
I wear those
painful.
exact shoes. I don't feel like I'm in pain, and I tend to work in them because I'm short, and that's just a whole other issue. But the one thing that she's saying, and she's talking about that I do notice over time is that, especially I guess I would say my big toe, is that I notice a numbness.
Show her your shoes.
No.
Show her your shoes. Nurse Mary?
So what
There's
I would do
a
with
numbness
so if I was seeing
that's
you,
gone.
what I would do is I would do my assessment and then I would backtrack because it had to start somewhere.
Right.
And that will go back in your history.
Okay.
So it will go back to your early years, what you did over the years, what hobbies, what if you played sports, what shoes you wore.
Exactly.
Did you wear your sister's or whatever, you
Yeah.
know?
Clogging, dancing,
Yeah.
whatever.
So there's all those
play
things
a role in
yes,
where I am today.
Yes.
Right.
But you got to think about people now live like longer and longer, and we're getting into the 90s and the 100s. And if you want to live and be able to walk in your own home, you want to be able to have feet that are comfortable. There's
I have people who they're like, you are not going to be able to wear toes for much longer.
Well,
you know, like, I used to wear shoes like you. I can't wear them now.
Well, my main concern would be that people really don't know their size of their foot.
That is
Key issue.
huge. That is, I absolutely refuse to wear something that I feel like I'm being
pinched.
Oh,
well,
yes.
No, I won't.
I don't ignore it.
Yeah.
I switch.
Well, that's good.
Out.
That's
and
good.
I actually call them my step downs because I might start with a heel that's
A
this high
10
and
inch,
bring
you go
it down.
from 10-inch heel to a 6-inch heel.
Platforms. But I bring it down, and I prefer a shoe that has an open toe so that the space is there.
Yes,
right?
What that space is called elevator room, you should be able to move your toes a bit. It gives breathing space for the toes.
Okay.
So people should, I guess,
measure their foot.
Get their feet measured. It's hard because.
So explain that.
It's hard to get measurements because in order to do measurements for everybody with all the numbers of all the countries now.
Oh, yes.
And then you've got male, female, and or adults, children.
Youth,
you'd have to have so many different machines.
Right.
Or apparatuses, I should say. The way this works is your foot measurement does not go by your length.
Okay.
If you were a size
7.5, 7.5. 7.5 is always a good fit for me.
So your foot would measure 7.5 here.
Yeah.
But your arch would be determined here, and the arch, the width is determined by the arch. So if your arch is 8 and you're measuring 7.5, you're a size 8.
Okay, and I do sometimes. I'm always usually 7.5, but there will be a shoe I say no, I do not feel that's comfortable at 7.5. I will have to go to an 8.
It's the width. It's the width that's important because you could be in a 8 narrow, and if that's fine for you, it's good. But if you're actually a wide,
and I see that space,
and you're in 8 narrow, then once again, it's like you're living in the closet. You're squashed.
That's what I find. That depends on the maker of the shoe, right? A 7 fits me in this make, but not in this one. And I find that's the reason is because of the narrow part of it. I'm like, why does that 7 fit me and that one does not?
Yeah.
It has to do with the width.
But when I actually measure their feet, it's visible for them to see, because they'll have to ask them on their history, what size you're in, they'll say 10, and I measure them, they're 11.5, and they're like, oh, and I said, yeah, and that's probably not your big foot, because everyone has one foot bigger than the other.
Exactly
that is a true thing. Okay.
So when you go get measured, you want to measure both feet. You don't want to measure that smaller foot. And when you do get measured, you want to get measured later in the day. Because you're maybe swelling.
Long on your feet all day long.
Longer on your feet, because sometimes you can get a pair of shoes or boots in the morning, get home in the afternoon or later, and like, they fit in the store.
Yeah.
Yes.
So do you see a lot of people that do require orthotics?
Yes, I have a lot of people that have orthotics, but they actually are in the closet.
Okay.
Like the orthotics are in the closet. I say, do you have your orthotics? They say, no, they're in the closet, too small. But what it is if their shoes are too small, then the orthotic's not going to go into it.
That's right.
So and then they can put their foot into it.
The shoe size has to accommodate for the orthotic, right?
Okay.
Yes. So really, if you're going to have an orthotic, you should be taking the shoes in to the doctor who's fitting you with the mold. And
perfectly fit.
Yeah, not just take that mold and go put it anywhere because it's defeating the purpose, or they won't even get it in because it doesn't fit because the shoe's too small to start with.
Mary, we don't have a whole lot of time left. Could we just touch on bunions? Bunions are caused by what?
From friction. The bunions can be anywhere. They can be in the sides or on either side. But usually this on the side of the toe.
And they're
big
common.
toe is And
what it is, rubbing?
It's rubbing.
Okay.
It means that the shoe's too small. Over time, it gets tired. That bone gets tired, it pops out, and then your toe goes east and west.
And you hear about surgery, but is there anything you can do to relieve that feeling of the bunion being uncomfortable?
Well, I would say probably a maintenance of foot care, some education, some ways to. You have to look at that person because you don't know what their skin texture is like. You don't know what.
That's right.
What their
You're busy.
With them.
She's a busy lady.
Do you
with
see,
the bunions.
Yeah, I know I have a friend that she actually tries to determine which pair of shoes she's going to wear according to how her bunion's feeling that day. Yes. But I do know a couple of people where there's actually a big difference in shoe size from one foot to the other.
Yes, sometimes it can be an old size.
So you need what do you call it that you put in your shoe sometimes at the back? What do you call that?
If they're what I would do is a flat, just a regular flat. Okay. And just put it in the one that's too big.
Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly, because you can't go around buying shoes where two different sizes.
No, you can't.
No. You can't.
They do that with bathing suits now. You can get like a different top according to a different bottom, right? So.
But what's the most common? Diabetes must be we can't get into it too much, but diabetes
is big
foot
on
care
the liver and everywhere, I'm sure, but
that interferes with foot care, right?
Like they get sores on their feet, people with diabetes.
Well, they have no sensation. They have limited sensation that leads them to poor circulation and to gangrene or amputations. So it's very important that they're in shoes that have space. Because if they don't have sensation and not feeling it, they don't know what's going on down on their toes.
How would you know?
No.
How would you know?
Do you recommend or not recommend regular pedicures or looking after? I know I'm like them. I don't like to do my feet or look at it or whatever, so I go in and have my pedicures done.
Pedicures is fine, but I think if someone is just getting some basic knowledge in the foot care, what they should be doing, because you can do your own maintenance. Someone has never had foot care for 80 years and all of a sudden started foot care, they don't need foot care every month. They only need it maybe once or twice a month, or twice a year. And somebody like yourself, you might only need it once in your life.
Right. Okay.
Just in this few minutes here, you're going to think
you're
different
learning
about you are
what not to do and what to do to keep things
basically
healthy.
To respect your feet, just like any other part of your body, and treat them.
I think it's one of the things that most people neglect.
They don't like feet people in general.
They don't like to look at their feet because
so
it's easier to cover them.
You're so busy with your practice, but we have to know if people do want to see Mary.
How to get a hold of you.
I know your schedule's so heavy.
I do have a busy clientele.
She has a busy load.
I'm really here to promote people.
Okay, you'd rather just educate us today.
Yes.
Definitely.
I am out there, and
you certainly are doing a great job. I hear great work and results from your business, so I want you to keep it up because feet are an important part of our body.
Yes, definitely. So we want our viewers to look after your feet. Don't ignore them. Make sure you're wearing the right shoe size. Get measured. If you can't get a hold of Mary, which might be possible, definitely look after your feet.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you
again
next week.
Mary.
Thank you. Have a chat.